Dr. Alara Kane sat alone in her sterile laboratory on Cygnus Prime, the faint hum of alien machinery filling the air. She reviewed her latest findings, her breath catching as the results solidified her theory. The substance she had isolated, Nextherium, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever encountered. It pulsed with a faint, otherworldly glow, its energy readings beyond comprehension. But it wasn't just its power that shocked her. When exposed to human DNA, it initiated a process that could reverse cellular aging, effectively granting immortality. The discovery should have been a triumph, the pinnacle of her career. Yet, a cold dread settled in her chest. Humans were newcomers in the interstellar community, their fragile alliances with advanced alien species held together by thin threads of diplomacy. If word of this got out, the delicate balance would shatter. Greed and power struggles would inevitably follow, with humanity caught in the crossfire. Alara's thoughts were interrupted by the soft chime of the lab's entry signal. She turned to see Zareth, her alien partner, stride in. Tall and imposing, with a shimmering, opalescent complexion, Zareth exuded an air of authority. He was a high-ranking diplomat, his influence reaching far beyond Cygnus Prime. "Alara," he began, his tone smooth yet urgent, "you've been working non-stop. Have you made any progress?" She hesitated. Zareth was the one person she trusted, or so she thought. Sharing the discovery with him felt natural, yet a gnawing instinct warned her to tread carefully. "There's something," she admitted, choosing her words with care. "A substance that reacts uniquely with human DNA. Its implications could be transformative." Zareth's eyes narrowed, his curiosity unmistakable. Transformative how? Alara avoided his gaze, focusing instead on the glowing vial on her desk. "It's complicated. Potentially dangerous. I need more time to study it." His expression shifted, a flicker of something unreadable crossing his features. "Alara, you know the Federation has strict protocols. Any discovery of this magnitude must be reported immediately." She bristled at his tone. "And risk it falling into the wrong hands? You know what this could mean for humanity. We're already seen as a threat. This would confirm their fears." Zareth stepped closer, his voice softening. "You're overthinking this. Together, we can ensure the discovery benefits everyone. Trust me." Despite his reassurances, doubt lingered. She couldn't shake the feeling that Zareth's motivations weren't entirely selfless. Their relationship had always been a blend of passion and politics, but lately, his ambition had seemed to overshadow everything else. As Zareth left the lab, Alara's unease deepened. She knew the significance of Nextherium would eventually draw attention. What she didn't know was how soon and how personal the fallout would become. For now, she resolved to keep her work hidden, unaware that the most dangerous substance in the galaxy was not Nextherium, but the lies and betrayals already beginning to unfold. Alara couldn't ignore the growing distance between her and Zareth. In the weeks following her discovery, his behavior had shifted. Once attentive and warm, he now seemed distracted, his focus frequently elsewhere. He would step out to take cryptic calls, his responses vague when she asked who it was. At first, she chalked it up to the pressures of his position in the Federation, but the unease gnawed at her. Something wasn't right. One night, after he had left their quarters abruptly, Alara accessed the console he often used. It was risky, bordering on a breach of trust, but the creeping suspicion that Zareth wasn't being honest with her drove her to act. As she sifted through the encrypted messages, her heart sank. Hidden among routine communications was a thread between Zareth and an individual named Cirrus, a name she didn't recognize. The messages weren't detailed, but they hinted at something troubling, an arrangement to exchange data. Her data. Alara's chest tightened as her mind raced. Could Zareth have shared her work without her consent? And who was Cirrus? A collaborator? An informant? The betrayal felt like a knife to her gut, but what truly terrified her was the possibility that Nextherium might already be in the hands of someone willing to exploit it. When Zareth returned, she confronted him immediately. "Who is Cirrus?" she demanded, her voice sharp and cutting. The question caught him off guard, his usual composure faltering for a split second before he masked it with a calm facade. "Why are you asking about Cirrus?" "You know why," she shot back. "I found her messages. You've been communicating behind my back about my work. What are you hiding, Zareth?" He sighed, the weariness in his expression making her stomach churn. "Alara, you're misunderstanding the situation. Cirrus is a colleague. She's helping me navigate the political side of your discovery. The Federation is complicated. We need allies to ensure this doesn't become a disaster. And you didn't think to include me in this plan?" Her voice broke with anger. "This isn't about diplomacy. This is about control. You're trying to take my work away from me?" Zareth stepped closer, his tone soft but firm. "You're too close to this. Your emotions are clouding your judgment. Nextherium could destabilize everything we've built here. Cirrus and I are working to protect you. To protect us." The mention of us stung, hollow and insincere. Her gaze narrowed. "Protect us? Or protect yourself? Don't lie to me, Zareth. I need the truth." His silence was answer enough. The room felt suffocating, the weight of his betrayal crushing. Alara realized then that her suspicions ran deeper than just professional misconduct. The distance between them, the late nights, the secrecy, it wasn't just about Nextherium. He was hiding more. "Is it just work?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Or is there something else?" Zareth hesitated, and in that hesitation, she saw everything. The truth she had feared. "It's not what you think," he began, but the words were hollow, unconvincing. Alara turned away, her trust in him shattered. Nextherium had already brought danger into her life, but it wasn't the substance that would destroy her, it was the man she thought she loved. Alara worked in silence, her mind racing as she devised a plan. Zaretha's betrayal had hurt her deeply, but it had also crystallized her purpose. She couldn't let Nextherium fall into the wrong hands, not Zaretha's, not Cirrus's, and not the Federation's. Its potential was too great, its danger too vast. If no one could be trusted, then she would have to take matters into her own hands. She spent the next several days modifying her research in secret. The adjustments were delicate and required absolute precision. She manipulated Nextherium's chemical structure, introducing a safeguard that made it inert when exposed to alien DNA. The result would render the substance useless to anyone but humans, a safeguard against exploitation. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was essentially weaponizing it against those who might abuse its power. The next step was more dangerous. Alara leaked false information into the Federation's network, allowing Zareth and Cirrus to believe she had finalized Nextherium's formula. The bait was set. She knew Zareth too well to doubt he'd act quickly, thinking she had handed him the key to unlimited power. The betrayal she'd uncovered wasn't just personal, it was calculated and ruthless. That realization gave her the resolve to see this through. The night came sooner than expected. Zareth and Cirrus breached her lab, their arrogance evident in the way they carried themselves. Zareth spoke first, his voice dripping with mock concern. "Alara, you should have told me you'd finished the work. We could have avoided all this unpleasantness." Cirrus, a striking figure with sharp features and an aura of cold detachment, said nothing, but the disdain in her eyes was palpable. She didn't see Alara as a threat, just an obstacle to be removed. "I finished it because I knew you'd come," Alara said evenly, stepping aside to reveal the glowing vial on her workstation. "I wanted you to see the culmination of your ambition." Nextherium, perfected, Zaretha's expression flickered, a mixture of triumph and suspicion. He approached cautiously, reaching for the vial. Cirrus followed, her gaze darting around the room, searching for signs of deception. As Zareth lifted the vial, Alara's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "You really think you can control this, don't you? That you can take what's mine and use it for your gain?" Cirrus scoffed. "It's not yours anymore. You should have known better than to trust anyone in this galaxy." Alara smiled, cold and unyielding. "I didn't. That's why you've already lost." Before they could react, an alarm blared. Federation agents stormed the lab, weapons drawn. Alara had tipped them off, providing evidence of Zareth and Cirrus's conspiracy. The agents moved quickly, apprehending the pair despite their protests. As Zareth was led away, he turned to Alara, his expression a mix of anger and disbelief. "You don't understand what you've done. This isn't over." Alara met his gaze, unflinching.
"No, Zareth."
"It is." With them gone, she deactivated the vial, neutralizing the substance. Nextherium's secrets were safe, and for the first time in weeks, Alara felt the weight begin to lift. She had taken back control, proving that even in betrayal, humanity's resilience could shine through. The lab was eerily quiet now, the aftermath of the confrontation lingering in the air. Alara sat at her workstation, staring at the empty vial that once held Nextherium. It was over, or so she told herself. Zareth and Cirrus were in Federation custody, their plans exposed, but the ache of betrayal still clung to her. Trusting him had been her greatest mistake, and now she was left to pick up the pieces of her work and her life. A soft chime broke the silence, signaling a message from Federation Command. The familiar voice of Admiral Kessin came through, his tone formal but tinged with respect. "Dr. Kane, your actions today prevented a disaster that could have destabilized the entire galaxy. The Federation owes you a great debt. We will ensure that Nextherium's secrets are safeguarded. As for Zareth and his accomplice, they will face justice for their crimes." Alara nodded absently, her fingers brushing against the edge of her console. She knew she should feel a sense of accomplishment, but all she felt was exhaustion. Nextherium was safe, but at what cost? The substance had exposed the fragility of her relationships and the dangerous ambitions lurking beneath the surface of those she once trusted. After the call ended, she allowed herself a moment to reflect. She thought back to why she had started this journey in the first place, to contribute something meaningful, to prove that humanity could stand shoulder to shoulder with the other species of the galaxy. She had succeeded, but the price had been steep. In the days that followed, Alara focused on securing her research. She worked tirelessly to erase any traces of Nextherium's formula, ensuring that no one could replicate it. The Federation provided her with additional security measures, though she suspected they had their own motives for keeping her work under their control. Still, she felt a sense of relief knowing that her discovery wouldn't fall into the wrong hands again. The scars of Zaretha's betrayal ran deep, but Alara refused to let them define her. If anything, the experience had taught her a valuable lesson. Humanity's strength wasn't just in their ingenuity, but in their resilience. She had faced betrayal and danger, yet she had emerged stronger, unwilling to let others dictate her fate. One evening, as she stood in the observation deck overlooking Cygnus Prime's twin moons, she allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries yet to be uncovered. Nextherium had been just one chapter of her story, and she knew there were many more discoveries to be made, discoveries she would approach with caution, but also with hope. As the stars glittered before her, a thought crossed her mind. Perhaps Nextherium wasn't the most dangerous substance in the galaxy after all. Ambition, betrayal, and greed, those were the true threats, capable of destroying even the strongest bonds. But as long as humanity could confront those dangers with integrity and resolve, there was hope for a better future. Alara turned away from the window, ready to face whatever came next. She wasn't just a scientist anymore, she was a survivor, and the galaxy had yet to see the full extent of what she could achieve.